Be me, 24, arts degree, surviving on instant noodles and iced coffee. Would have better food to eat if my dad worked harder. My mum always said women carried the real weight. Men, just clock in, throw a fit about being tired, act like heroes. I believed her. Never really questioned it. Whenever I wanted something, my dad was my ATM. Started small, manicures, takeout, overpriced study coffees, then bigger stuff, clothes I wore twice, weekend trips with friends, upgrades for my phone. I never asked directly, just sighed loud enough, dropped hints until he pulled out his wallet. He'd dig out folded, greasy bills from his work pants, hands rough, smelling like metal and diesel. I'd grab the money before it touched me too long. In my head, I thought, this isn't generosity, this is just his role. Like how moms cook dinner, dad's fun things. I didn't feel guilty, I felt entitled. Isn't that what a man's supposed to do? Provide until he drops? My dad? Garbage man, since before I was born. No diploma, no career plan. Just throwing bags into the truck day after day. Wakes up before the sun, comes home with his back bent and hands reeking of rot. Washes twice, still smells like sour milk and diesel. I'd wrinkle my nose, call it trash perfume. Nothing glamorous about it. No promotion, no office. Just sweat and trash juice soaking his clothes. He'd come home with cuts from broken glass, act like it was nothing. My mom would sigh, roll her eyes, say he chose the easy road. And honestly, I agreed. She had more education, a degree, a teaching job. She'd remind us often how she could have done better if she'd married different. Dad never argued back, just nodded, cleaned up, went quiet. To me, he wasn't admirable, just stuck. A man who settled for lifting garbage when the world offered more. Whenever I wanted money, new clothes, nights out, I'd nudge him. Just take an extra shift, Dad. It's not that hard. He'd sigh, rub his eyes, then head back out anyway. Bags under his eyes got deeper each week. I thought it was hilarious. Like, imagine being destroyed by lifting trash bags. My mom said his paycheck barely covered bills. Around $600 a week, maybe $700 if he picked up overtime. Meanwhile, my weekend trip with friends could eat half of that in one go. I didn't care, just saw it as him being stingy. That summer I had a girls' trip lined up. Airbnb by the lake, 3 nights of drinking and selfies. My cut was $400 and my bank account laughed at me, so I pushed harder. Just one more overtime, Dad. It's not that deep. He'd nod, shoulders slumped, and lace his boots again. We'd tag team him, Mom saying, the house needs more. Me whining about needing just a little extra. He'd rub his temples, nod, then take another shift, day after day, like a mule. He started leaving before sunrise, coming home way past dark. Hands cracked and bleeding, knees stiff, eyes half shut at dinner. Sometimes he'd doze off mid-bite, fork still in his hand. When he did try talking to me, it was awkward, asking about school, or music, or my friends. He'd stumble over words, say something corny, not even close to cool. I'd roll my eyes, shut him down quick. In my head, what could a man with no diploma know about my life anyway? But still, he worked. Every time I hinted, he stretched himself thinner. Weekends, night shifts, anything. His back bent lower, his walk slower. Mom complained he smelled worse. I complained he was boring. He just kept saying, I'll manage. Until one night, he didn't. Truck jolted, bag split open, glass and a hidden needle tore into his arm. He came home pale, sweat dripping, arm swollen purple. Doctor said infection, no work for at least a week. Union forced him on medical hold. Mom blew up about bills. I crossed my arms, furious my allowance just evaporated. Like, imagine getting sidelined by a scratch. All that, just so I couldn't go out this weekend. Like, wow, all this crying over garbage duty? Pathetic. But then reality hit me. No work meant no paycheck. No paycheck meant no allowance. And no allowance meant no trip. Was I really about to stay home while my friends posted lake pics without me? I sat there thinking, what are my options? Wait until he heals? Too slow. Ask Mom? She'd just lecture me about budgeting. Dad's down, bills are tight, and my wallet's empty. So I thought, why not me? How hard could his job be? Lifting bags, pressing buttons, riding on the truck. People make it sound like men's work, but it's literally trash duty. Actually made sense if I did it. 2 birds, 1 stone. Prove Dad was just being dramatic, and still get the cash I needed for the trip. So I said fine, I'll do it myself for a week. Prove how easy men have it. Prove he just exaggerated like they always do. Dad tried talking me out of it, arm bandaged up, face pale like paper. He said, "Sweetie, I'd work through this if I could, but they won't let me." The union doctor benched me. "Please. Just wait a week. I'll catch up." I stared at him, biting my tongue not to laugh. Work through it? He could barely lift a spoon without wincing. Yet here he was, acting noble, like he'd sacrifice himself if only they'd let him. Pathetic, but in a sad little way. In my head I thought, this is exactly the problem. Men cry about rules, about injuries, about bad luck. But at the end of the day, it's just trash duty. Anyone can do it, especially me. Besides, bills won't wait. My trip won't wait. Life doesn't pause just because Dad's being dramatic with a scratch. Next morning, Dad sat me down, arm still bandaged. I kept pressing him to get me a job at his place, so he finally gave way. He said the yard was short-staffed, Mike and Ortega were filling a 1-week temp slot. Family Vouch could slide me in if I wanted. "Sweetie, it's brutal. I'd work through this if I could, but they benched me. Please, just wait a week." I smirked, shook my head. "Dad, it's trash, not surgery. Anyone can do it. I'll cover your shift." Day 1. Orientation. Alarm went off at 3 a.m., stomach twisting from instant noodles and nerves. Stumbled into the yard, reek of diesel and ammonia thick in the air. Trucks idling, men in steel toes clutching black coffee like it was oxygen. Mike pointed me toward muster, Ortega running the briefing like drill sergeant cosplay. No phones near the hopper, 3 points of contact, never compact until it's clear. I nodded, pretending to listen, already thinking about angles for my vlog. They handed me a high-visibility vest, earplugs, cut-resistant gloves, steel-toe boots. I tossed the gloves aside, bought pink garden ones instead, looked cuter for the vlog. Mike side-eyed me, muttered, "You'll feel that by lunch?" I smirked, thinking men love to exaggerate, then joked to Mike, "Please, you guys act like trash is a war zone. It's just bags." He snorted. "Talk to me at sundown." I rolled my eyes, thinking men love pretending grunt work is heroics. Ortega drilled Sharp's protocol, use tongs for glass. Report any cut immediately, clinic visit mandatory. I tuned him out. Union paranoia, same nonsense that benched Dad over a scratch. The only part I cared about was the pay board, $15 an hour. Time and a half after 8, no cash advances, first check at week's end. If I wanted my girl's trip covered, I had to last all 7 days, so quitting wasn't an option. Before I climbed onto the truck, Dad shuffled over, eyes hollow, voice cracked. "Sweetie, respect the hopper. This job chews people up if you don't." I laughed in his face. "Dad, it's trash, not surgery." Mom's voice chased me out the door. "If men can do it better, and don't be late." On the ride over, I texted my girls, told them I'd be slumming it on the trash truck for a week. They dared me to vlog it for content. I pocketed my phone under the vest, thinking 2 wins. Money plus proof men whine about easy work. Shift starts. First stop. Bin lid popped open, swarm of maggots writhing under the plastic. I gagged so hard my eyes watered, but forced myself to grab the handle. Tried to roll it up to the truck lip like I'd seen Mike do. Missed the edge completely. Bag burst against the metal. Garbage avalanche straight over my boots. Trash juice soaked into my pants, sour rot crawling up my nose. I muttered loud enough for Mike to hear, "This is why men exaggerate, right?" Gross, but it's not that hard. He stopped mid-step, stared at me like I'd grown another head. "Princess, you've been here 1 hour and you're already covered in juice. Try 3 decades of this, then talk easy." I rolled my eyes, but inside, my stomach sank. Next pickup wasn't better. I yanked too fast, lost control, cart slammed into my shin, left a deep bruise. Mike barked from the cab. "Keep it steady. Line the wheels. Don't muscle it." I waved him off like I knew better, but my arms were already shaking. By the 3rd block, I was riding the side step, gripping the rail with white knuckles. Truck jolted over a pothole, and my foot nearly slipped off. Heart jumped into my throat. If I'd fallen, the wheels would have chewed me up. Mike didn't look back, just drove like I wasn't even there. Next street, a yappy terrier bolts out from a gate, snapping at my ankles. I screamed, dropped the bag, nearly tripped over the curb. The owner stormed out, yelling at me like it was my fault. I wanted to clap back, but Mike just kept walking without even turning around. "Keep pace," he muttered. By noon, my palm was blistered from the cheap gloves. Shin bruised purple from a bin axle. Arms shaking, legs shot, back stiff. I forced a laugh and told Mike, "It smells, but it's just lifting." Men are dramatic. Inside, I was already wrecked. 10 hours later, I was drenched in sweat and rot. Did the math in my head. $15 an hour, 10 hours. $150. I grinned like it was free shopping money, conveniently forgetting taxes and union dues. Dad texted, "How was it?" I stared at the blister throbbing on my hand. Typed back, "Easy. You milk this." Collapsed into bed, hands still stinking no matter how much I scrubbed. 1 day down, 6 to go. How hard could it really be? Day 2, Tuesday, woke up sore everywhere. Palms raw, shin bruised, arms felt like wet noodles. Alarm hit at 3 a.m. again, and I nearly cried. Dad used to just get up every day like this? Pathetic. But also, how? Yard was darker today. Drizzle in the air, diesel fog hanging low. Mike handed me a coffee. I shoved it back. "I don't drink dirt water." He shrugged, muttered, "You'll wish you did by noon." First call was bulk pickup. A couch and mattress, waterlogged from last night's rain. Mike demoed the lift. Stack, roll, flip onto the rim, then heaved it in smooth. I tried the same, but the couch legs caught and nearly flipped me with it. Back twinged sharp, pain shooting down my hip. I winced, pressing my hand where it pinched, but shrugged it off. Had to just be a bad lift, a weird angle. No way it feels like this, every time. Mike barked, "Don't muscle it. Leverage, not brute force." I nodded, pretending I was fine, but it felt like something broke inside me. Next house, some Karen stormed out waving a recycling bin. "You skipped this last week, lazy trash monkeys." I opened my mouth, ready to clap back. Then a soda can slammed against my vest, splattering sticky across my chest. Neighbors were staring, some laughing from their porches. Sticky soda dripping down my vest. I grumbled under my breath. "You guys make this job look harder just to milk sympathy. If people weren't crazy, this would be nothing." Mike shot back without missing a beat. "If it's nothing, why's your hand shaking and your vest soaked in soda? You think it's the people making you weak, or the work chewing you up?" I clenched my jaw, said nothing, but heat burned my face. Told myself it wasn't the work that sucked, just the people making it worse. Next street had to be easier. I froze, cheeks hot, while Mike just dragged me along. "Ignore it, we're burning time." Hydration became a joke. White salt lines crusted my vest, forearms cramping every 10 steps. I ducked behind the truck, trying to stretch, arms shaking like twigs. That's when Sasha rolled by, a female helper from another route. Short, wiry, moved like she'd been born on the back step. She tossed me a strip of athletic tape. "Wrap your wrists, rookie. Trash fights back." I muttered thanks, too quiet for her to hear. Inside, I hated it. Another woman doing this job better than me. By mid-afternoon, the stench was permanent. Pizza boxes soaked in cat urine, bags tearing mid-lift, juice splattering up my legs. I gagged behind my arm, stomach lurching. Mike smirked. "Still think it's just lifting?" I snapped back. If they didn't overfill, this job would be cake. It's the people, not the work. He didn't bother replying. Phone buzzed in my vest, group chat spamming lake pics. Drinks, swimsuits, golden hour selfies. I typed, "worth it soon," with shaky fingers. Did the math again. 15 an hour, 10 hours, $150. But my back pinched, wrists raw, shirt stuck to my spine, couldn't stop thinking about how little that really was. Dad texted, "Ice your back." I stared at the words, thumbs hovering, lied through my teeth. "I'm fine." Collapsed into bed, back throbbing every time I moved. Hands trembling from gripping bins all day. I muttered to myself it was just a rough shift. Unlucky route. Tomorrow would smooth out. Had to. No way it's always like this. 2 down, 5 to go. But for the first time, I wasn't sure if I'd make it. Day 3, Wednesday. Woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Arms jelly. Back screaming. Blisters raw, no matter how much I wrapped them. I stared at my phone thinking, why am I even doing this? Then the group chat pinged again. Lake selfies. Everyone tagging me. Missing you. I clenched my jaw, muted the thread. One more day, I told myself. I'll prove it's easy, get the footage, then cash out. At the yard, Mike gave me that look like he already knew I wasn't going to last. I shoved my phone deeper in my vest, telling myself today I'd finally record something. Proof this job wasn't that bad. Proof Dad was dramatic. Proof I wasn't weak. First hour was brutal. Bins overstuffed, leaking rotten milk down my gloves. Mike yelled at me for lagging. I rolled my eyes, Even as my stomach twisted, I thought, whatever. I'll just film the next one. Show my girls how hard men make this look. Next stop, perfect chance. Sunlight breaking through, curb stacked with neat black bags. I slipped my phone out, balanced it one-handed while dragging the cart with the other. Lined it up wrong. Wheel caught a crack, whole cart lurched sideways. Sharp edge of a broken bottle tore straight through my garden glove. Sliced my palm open, blood mixing with trash juice. I screamed, phone clattering to the pavement. Mike sprinted over, grabbed my wrist, swore under his breath. What the hell did Ortega tell you? No phones at the hopper? I tried to laugh it off, voice shaky. It's just a scratch. But blood was already soaking through the tape. Union rule kicked in. Injury meant automatic report. Ortega pulled me aside back at the yard, face stone cold. We told you. No phone use, no exceptions. You're benched. I snapped back. You can't bench me. I need this week. He just shrugged. So did your dad. Rules don't care. While Ortega wrapped up the report, Mike shook his head. We told her no phones. Guess she thought she knew better. Another driver chimed in, grinning. Like father, like daughter, huh? Except her dad lasted decades before the bench. They all laughed. Low, bitter. My face burned hotter than the cut on my palm. I stormed out, hands wrapped, trip fund gone, dream footage ruined. 3 days in, and I was done. I couldn't hack it, not even half a week. Got home, Dad was waiting. Turns out Mike had called him on the way back. Your daughter thought you had it easy, Mike had said. Now she knows better. 3 days and she's out. You've been carrying this 30 years. Respect, man. Dad just nodded, silent, eyes heavy. He looked at my bandaged hand, guilt written all over his face. Sweetie, I'm sorry. I should have worked harder, saved more. I failed you. I froze. This man, beaten down, bleeding for decades, apologizing to me. And all I'd done was whine, bleed 3 days, then quit. I wanted to scream, to blame him, to say it wasn't my fault. But the truth was buzzing in my head, louder than the trucks ever were. He carried this every day, for years, without complaint, and I lasted 72 hours before folding, 3 days, and I was done. He'd been doing it my whole life. I stared at him, shaking my head. Yeah, maybe trash work isn't as easy as I thought. But still, men have choices. He could have studied, gotten a real job, done better for us. Instead, he picked garbage, then acted like a martyr. So number, I don't feel sorry. Men still suck. They just settle and expect applause.